Welcome to the call today on GeoFarmer Circle Prospecting Mastery with Listings to Leads. And we're going to go over how to go after your farm area, how to circle prospect, how to get listings out of a farm area, whether it's around a listing or just the general farming area. So if you are not a client, go to listingstoleads.com, sign up. Everything we're going to do here can be done in a free trial. And so when you log in, you're going to land on the dashboard. And for GeoFarmer Circle Prospecting, the number one way to convert in a GeoFarm fast is with an open house. Whether it's your open house or not, doing an open house will give you a lot of great opportunities to connect with the homeowners and home buyers, creating a really nice event around an open house. And we got some really great post-open house marketing as well. And so using an open house will allow you to generate more listings from your farm than about anything else you can do. Now, what I'm going to walk you through there, you can do with any listing that you've got. So if you've got a coming soon, you got a pending, you got a sold, you got a just listed, you got an active listing, a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about you can do as well. And then we've also got postcards, door hangers, and letters for all the PDF guides. So there's 40 plus PDF guides for homeowners. They've all got postcards, door hangers, and letters. And then the landing pages as well. A lot of the landing pages will have postcards, door hangers, and letters also. You'll also see a lot of these tools will have scripts that you'll see as we go through this. So not only are we going to be talking about going after them with print, but also with a phone call. And then we're also going to talk about social media and a little bit of how you can work in some farm, GeoFarm ideas into your social media as well. So with that said, for an open house, yours or borrowed, let's go to listings. And this is really how Dustin Fox went from being, a single agent with his wife within, a year or two in the business to now running a team of over, I think, 24 agents, millions and millions of dollars a year. And it all started with what I'm going to walk you through right here. So you got a listing in your account and you want to hold an open house. Again, yours or borrowed, doesn't matter. So I got a listing here, 15 Ambient Way. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click where it says add open house. And I'm going to set the open house for December. I'm doing way up in the future just because I don't like this to just running through all the time every week. It's a little old. So I like to just set it. I do like one a month like this. So we're going to set the open house. And again, this could be my listing. It could be a borrowed listing. The key for this is just make sure it's in an area that you want more listings and you want more buyers. And I'm going to walk you through a presentation that we've got in your account. If you're a broker on this call or a lender or a trainer or a coach, the presentation I'm going to show you in a minute is absolutely fantastic. It's a great training aid, but it's also great for you as the agent to go through and become very versed at it because it's going to help you get more listings. There are clients that do 2 to 3 different open houses a week, no problem. But we're going to talk about just doing one a week. And if you have a chance, pick up Dustin's book, 6 Weeks to Agent Success, because he goes through a lot of this there as well. So you can see I got the open house. And now when I click on market listing, you're going to see a bunch of tools here. All right, you got the Facebook and Instagram ad, which we cover in Social Media Mastery. We got the social media post as well, obviously Social Media Mastery. And what we are looking for here is this nearby homeowner letter as well. There are postcards and door hangers. You can see I'll say open house, right? Open house, great. Got QR code, got the domain, got the text information there, same with the letter. There is also a circle prospecting script as well. So this is going to really help us make sure that we connect with as many of these homeowners around that listing as possible. That is the key. And again, this could be a pending listing. We got the same tools for the pending. We'll have the nearby homeowner letter for the pending, the postcards and door hangers, and the circle prospecting script. And what we're going to cover with these letters and the script is phenomenal to do with pendings and sold as well. As you go through this list, I'm going to come back to the overview just real briefly here. And I'm going to point out to you that we've got the open house marketing checklist right here. So I can download the checklist. And actually, this is getting updated in the next day or two. I can't wait. Got a really nice new checklist coming. But for now, this is absolutely something I would still recommend today to do, because what this is going to do, this is going to help you keep on track. Most of you, your biggest problems are you're so inconsistent. You're not running ads consistently. You're not doing the marketing consistently. And so if you print this checklist up, it's going to help you stay on track and stay a lot more consistent. All right. Every single week, you need to be marketing a listing that is for sale, coming soon, just listed, active, or open house, with all these tools, yours or borrowed. And the same with pending or sold, yours or borrowed. Now, here in the checklist, again, we got the nearby homeowner letter, postcard, and door hanger that we're going to walk through. And then we've also got the circle prospecting script. So we want to be able to mail these people. And if you've got the ability to get the phone numbers and circle prospect, do that as well. So let's go back into my listing. And the last thing here before we get into doing the step-by-step is you're going to see this open house mastery banner, right? Open house mastery. This is also, if you were to go to marketing calendar, presentations, and you'll see open house mastery here. So if you don't have a open house in your account, you can still come here, check out the presentation. We got a PDF guide. That's really phenomenal. In fact, let me download the guide real quick as well to show you. If you were to do, I'll tell you, if you were to do this once a week, in 2 to 3 months, your business, you will be getting probably listings, a transaction every week within 2 to 3 months if you start doing this right now. Here's the PDF guide for Open House Mastery. It's right there in your account, as I showed you. And this is going to walk through how to market for the open house and how to convert those leads at the open house. And third, how to generate listing leads after the open house. So this presentation, 39 pages, it's a little bit long, but it's easy read. It's a super easy read. As you can see here, there's not a lot of text on any one of these pages. We wanted to make sure that it was easy to read, but you can see here, right? Just so much great stuff right here. We even get into the idea of inviting some of the leads in your database. And everything on here is a result of us working with, talking to our top producing clients who are just crushing it using open houses to generate listings and buyers. So none of this is made up. None of this is something that I was sitting there and was like, oh, wow, what a great idea that would be. And so as you can see here, right, we're talking about flags. And there's even a link right here that you can click right from the page, right to the item. Come and download this guide and start working your way through it. And as an assist, the presentation here, this is very similar. Oh, look how good that looks. All you got to do is click on it. And so we're going to walk through this together right now. Briefly, I'm going to take about 5 to 10 minutes on this, because this right here is what is going to set you up. Again, if you were to do this every single week, and there are people that do this multiple times a week. Dustin Fox did this. He would do 3-day open houses, and he went from just being a new agent working with his wife to now doing millions of dollars a year with a team of over 24 agents. So nothing I'm showing you here is made up. It is random. This is all stuff clients have done. It's just, here's what it is. It's just a matter of layering on more activity as you need to. But the activities, we know what they are. So you don't need to guess about what to do. You just need to do this and keep doing it and keep doing more of it. You're going to get the traction. You're going to get that flywheel effect coming in where you're going to start getting you're going to get seller leads on a regular basis. You're going to be getting buyer leads on a regular basis. You're going to get to stop worrying about where your next deal is coming from every 3 days. So open house mastery, listings and buyers, A to Z success, works for your listing or borrowed. Do it weekly. There's no excuse not to do this weekly, even through the holiday season. When I first got into real estate, I was with literally one of the top 5 agents in San Francisco. And he would, every year, he'd be like, no, we're going to take, part of January off because we're going to work through the holidays because all the other agents take it off. And he was always like, I always get some great clients over the holiday season because I'm around, I'm showing homes, I'm working. He's not working Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, but he's around to be able to work with people that have time, right? They got time as well. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff. So what we're going to be doing here is creating an unforgettable experience. And this isn't fluff. This isn't like a nice Hollywood waste of time just to make us feel good about ourselves. This is to drive home that we are a step above, if not 10 steps above every other agent in your area. And we're literally going to show you, and we're going to perform the activities to prove it so that when anyone is thinking about buying or selling real estate, we're going to be the only obvious choice for them to go with, because everybody else is going to be like, they're not nearly as good as this guy, right? They're not nearly as good as this woman who went to their open house. They're doing open houses all the time. They're amazing. And we're going to be going with that person there that shows us that is in the farm, that is in the community, that they know how to sell and buy real estate. That's what we're going for here, right? We don't want to be just another agent, right? There's too many agents out there. If you're just going to flow into and draft along with another agent and not stick your head up and not be different, not be better, then you're just vanilla, another agent, right? Like everybody else. Why would anybody want to work with you? So we're going to create an experience that buyers and sellers will not forget. We're going to have more conversations, all right? Experience will lead to more conversations, getting you more listings and more buyers. So I love what Jared James here, and this is true with all of Listings to Leads, right? He gave me this quote in reference really in general, but as it relates to Listings to Leads, the obvious there, if you want more clients, do more open houses. That's a straight up quote from Jared, right? It's going to allow us to be put in a position to have more face-to-face conversations. Now, and obviously, we are going to get the people there. So this is not where we're just going to be standing at an open house that nobody comes through. We are going to be having people at that open house. We're going to get the opportunities, and we're going to capitalize on them, and we're going to convert them. And this last right here, right? Visibility trumps ability. You can be the best agent in the world, but if you're not face-to-face with people, if you're not talking to people, you're not going to get the deals. So doing an open house, doing it the right way, this is going to be the easiest thing you've ever done to convert into business. So here we go. Picking your open house. So if you don't have an open house, or maybe you got multiple listings, do an area where you want listings. Try to make sure you're in a good price point, right? Too expensive or too low, right? Or if it's a really crazy house, maybe that's going to attract a kind of a different kind of a group of buyers or sellers. So just make sure it's a good home, and when I say good price point, that's getting a lot of turnover in an area as well. Don't do really far out homes, or be aware of guarded, gated condo buildings, maybe that need different codes to get in there, where it's just the more barriers you put in to people accessing the property, the more people are just going to not even come in. So we want to make sure that this is an easy property to get to. If you're not sure how to borrow a listing, go talk to your broker, right? Your broker's right there with you. They can help you out with it. But I'm telling you, I have never heard from an agent that they were not able to borrow a listing. I've never heard from an agent, never had an agent tell me that they were unable to borrow a listing for any particular time that they wanted. So that's no excuse. That you couldn't borrow a listing is not an excuse. So you can talk to your broker if you need to. They're going to love it that you're being more proactive in your business. And if you do find an agent to hold an open house for them into one of their listings, make sure they add it to the MLS and Zillow and everything. I remember, oh my God, I did an open house before for another agent, and they didn't do that. And this was before Listings to Leads. This was way a long time ago. You're just standing there with nothing to do because the darn agent didn't bother to put it in the MLS. And even though you're going to be doing all the great marketing Listings to Leads, you're going to crush it. You're going to be awesome, but still put it in the MLS, put it in Zillow as normal. And then here, generate 24 to 140 leads. So this is a market listing from listings to leads. So this is in your account. You go through the marketing of that open house. And we're not going to go through that step by step because we've done that. We got all the training on that. But here are just some of the tools that you will be using to market that open house. And again, here's that nearby homeowner letter. I'll be getting to that letter in a lot more specificity. I think I got that right. Sometimes my braces make it a little bit hard to say some of those words. But anyways, so all of these tools are going to get people, nearby neighbors and home buyers, to our open house, or at the minimum where we can generate them as a lead so that they're in our database. We've got the ability to follow up with them, even if they don't come to the open house. Now, one of the things that you can do, and again, this is Dustin Fox did this, a lot of top agents do this, neighborhood exclusive. So we want to set a time, and if it's our listing, obviously it's a lot easier to do. If it's not your listing, I'll give you an idea that you can do in a second here. But neighborhood exclusive, 1 to 3 days before the public open house. I know Dustin said he used to do them Fridays would be the nearby neighbor. And then he would do Saturday and Sunday open house. So he would do 3-day open houses. And I've heard this from people as well. In fact, I can't remember, those agents I was talking to recently. And it was like, he thought that it would like cannibalize the dates. And so instead of having maybe 100 people would come through the open house, let's just say as an example. And he was like, when I first started, I figured doing a 3-day or a 2-day public open house, I would split and get 50 and 50. And so why waste my time doing 2 open houses? What he found out was that buyers would come back on both days, and buyers sometimes and neighbors as well would come back on both days. They didn't have an agent, and he was able to convert more people because he was open more, right? And they would come back because they want to see it again and they're really interested in it, or the neighbor came by again because they wanted to see something again. And now you're having way better conversations. So keep that in mind. Again, if you don't have a lot of deals coming in, you got all the time in the world. You got all the time in the world to make money, to get deals. So for the neighborhood exclusive, we're going to send out the nearby homeowner letter. I'll walk through that here in a little bit. And then if you got the ability to call them up, I'll walk you through, right? If you don't know how to get a list of people to mail to and call, we'll walk through that here in a little bit. But there's a little script right here in the presentation so that we can invite the neighbors to the neighbor exclusive. Now, if you are borrowing the listing, just do this exact same thing, but you are now going to invite them to the standard public regular open house. If it's your listing and you got the ability to do a neighborhood exclusive, right? Nearby homeowner exclusive for that property, then that's great. Do that, because now you're going to have just the neighbors coming by. You're going to have better conversations. But if it's not your listing, you can still do everything we're talking about. Just invite them to the regular open house. Does that make sense for everybody? Should be pretty straightforward. The little script for you, so you can call those people that you sent the nearby homeowner letter to for the invite. Make sure if you're the listing agent, ask the homeowner to post it on Nextdoor. What a phenomenal way to get that single property website, to get that open house information to other homeowners. All right. So there might be some renters, depending on the neighborhood that's in the Nextdoor group, but it's going to be a lot of homeowners. And you want to make sure you get the seller to post that same post that they put on the seller's page, right? We all know the seller's social media post for your listings. So have them drop that into Nextdoor as well, because when people click through, they're going to go to your single property website where we got all the lead capture. So don't forget about Nextdoor. That's a really powerful place. So we talk about inviting the neighbors. Now we want to invite our database and top 50 leads. So part of this is we're going to send out the e-flyer for our database as normal. That's something that we normally do. And then I want you to call through. If you can only get through 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is, but if you can get up to your top 50 leads to invite them to the open house, and they may live in the area, and you want to call them to invite them to come by the open house just to see what's on the market, how the market is doing. And I'd love to talk to you about anything related to real estate. If there's anything you want to talk about, but would love to just invite you to the open house. That allows us to add a little bit of value to the lead, right? Whether they're a buyer lead or seller lead, let them know we're thinking about them. Let them know we're still in business. Let them know that we're active. Let them know we're busting our butt to do better and to get listings sold and bought. So yeah, don't skip on this stuff, because sometimes you think, but no one's going to buy or sell right now. But if you were to do this in a couple of weeks or a month or two, as these people are getting ready to buy or sell, we want them to be coming to us, not to somebody else, because we were too lazy to give them a quick call. And we got the script right here. So easy little did-you-get script, letting them know we sent them an e-flyer, letting them know we're having an open house, whether we want to invite them to the nearby neighbor or the public open house, either way. Now, this is where it gets really good. Today's Wednesday. You can get some of the stuff done before this weekend. Some of it you may not be able to, but you can get it ready for the next weekend. So people will do business with people they know, like, and trust. First impression matters. We're going to be addressing all of this. We want the shortest path, right? I don't want to wait 8 months to make money from my farm, right? I want to start getting deals, preferably in the next 1 to 3 months at the longest, right? So the shortest path is critical here. I don't have a year to wait around on this. And then we're going to over deliver on knowledge, value, and friendly professionalism. So first thing you're going to do to prepare for the open house itself is you're going to create some handouts. And in the PDF guide that we looked at a little bit earlier, all of this is in there. The prompts are in there. Everything is in there. The presentations, like your highlight, and then go through that PDF guide that we looked at a little bit ago. And that will have a lot of the details here. It'll have links to everything that you need. It'll have the more script information for things that you'll want. First thing is the listings to leads property flyer. That's first. Don't use a flyer from somewhere else. Just don't. The listings to leads flyer is designed to drive people to the listings to leads single property website. It's got the QR codes, got the URLs. If you're subscribed to the text service, that's on there as well. And we got seller lead capture and call to actions on those flyers. Just use our flyers. They're going to convert more. You're going to supply a neighborhood guide or summary via ChatGPT. And again, in the PDF guide, I've got the prompt. It will literally take you 45 seconds. You're going to copy and paste the prompt in. You're going to change the city, neighborhood name. And you're going to be impressed, I think, by what you get out of it. You're going to have an open house feedback form. So we got the online version, which I'll show you, but there's also a paper version, so you can do one or the other. And you're going to have a pin. And the last thing you're going to have that you're not going to give them in the beginning is going to be a printout of all the other open houses and listings in the area. And I've done this stuff. When you do it the way we're going to talk about, that there also will give you a lot of great opportunities to have more good conversations. Everything we're doing here is planting the seed to have a conversation while they're at the open house or afterwards. Again, none of this is done just to give you busy work. This is done to give you more opportunities to connect with home buyers and home sellers coming through the open house. And the last thing here, don't be that agent that just shows up. Oh, let me go back real quick. Yeah, don't be that agent that just shows up, right? Unprofessional, not knowing what's going on, right? I don't know about the neighborhood. Oh, I'm just holding this open for so, and I'm not really. Don't waste your time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting their time. You're wasting everyone's time. All right. Go into it as a professional. So know a little bit about the area, know about some of the other listings that are for sale, maybe that have gone pending or sold, right? Know about the area. Next up here, we're going to create a welcoming atmosphere. And with energy is really the key. We don't want people coming through and sleepwalking our open house. That's a waste of time. It's low energy. It's low conversion. It's low engagement. Bringing up the energy a little bit is going to give us, again, more opportunity to connect with these people. And when I first got into this, I thought the flags and balloons were so stupid. I'm just being honest, right? I'm like, that is so tacky. There's no way I'm going to do that. But I'm telling you, you should do it because it gets more people there. It gets people, and I know it's a little bit weird, but when you're walking into an open house that has either the balloons or the flags, regardless of what you personally think about it, you recognize the fact that this agent has done something that every other agent I see around hasn't done. And so even if I don't get why they need to have a flag or a balloon, what I do recognize is without even getting into the house yet, they are already a step above every other agent around. And that is just the beginning. The balloons and flag idea is just the beginning, because I want, when all those neighbors are walking around, I want them drawn to my open house. I want those neighbors walking the dog who never thought about coming into the open house go, oh, I wonder what's going on over there. And they walk over and they see the balloon or the flag, right? They see people coming in and out. They get a feel for what's going on, and then they're more likely to come in. But if we don't start off with the right stuff, you're not going to get that opportunity. And I know it sounds so goofy, but it works. Next up, music and sound. Have you ever walked into a store and all of a sudden you're just like bopping along a little bit and you realize, oh, that's a great song. Love that song. And it just makes you a little bit happy there, and you're spending time in the store versus walking into a store and there's no music, there's no people, and you're almost embarrassed to be there because you're just like, man, is this place closing down or what? Right? We don't want that. So bring some music. You can buy little stereos. The homeowner may have a stereo that you can use, that you can Bluetooth into. You may have a friend that has a little portable speaker. Again, in the PDF guide, I got links to some good cheap ones and there's some good just middle price ones. I got a Bose, right? One of those little Bose ones. And you're not trying to bring in a $10,000 system, just a regular portable that you might take to the beach or to the park would be perfect. And I've talked to people who told me that they actually are great conversation starters. Now, if you don't have access to anything, I'm sure you do. Go ask around. I'm sure somebody has one that you could borrow. But if not, maybe the owner has one in the property that you can use as well. But again, you might be able to get onto their network, right? And they can issue you a temporary password, and then you can use your Bluetooth to play a little bit of music at the open house. Always be appropriate. Keep it soft, right? You don't know who's coming through the open house. We don't want to do anything too crazy. Again, just think when you're in a store, right? If I'm in the kind of store that I'd like to spend time in, what kind of music would they be playing? And then just go from there with it. Next up, scent and smell. And again, this is one of those things, a good scent can keep people there longer and longer. It could be like a cinnamon candle, a sage candle, right? Candles can be nice. Or maybe you buy some of the Febreze. Be careful on those chemical smells. So if you're going to do this, you don't want to be overpowering. Just be careful on that. Another thing you can always do, obviously, is open up all the windows, make sure we air out the house so it's not stuffy. But yeah, just be a little bit careful on the scent, that we don't do something where people walk in and go, what the hell is that? That's not the look we're going for. But again, and you can scan that QR code. Again, that's in the PDF guide. So the PDF guide has a link to a really great article on this exact topic. So I would recommend that as well. And the last thing, and this is easier than you think, food and drinks. So we've done the flags and the balloons. They come in, they hear a little bit of music. There's a nice smell. There's a great handout, right? I introduced myself like we talked a little about earlier here in this presentation. And as they're walking through, we've got some food and drink. And again, this is cheaper and easier than you probably think. And if you got a lender, maybe ask a lender to sponsor and put in a rate sheet at your open house. So you can include a rate sheet with the handout. That would be great. If you know someone that owns a cafe, maybe you can get a little bit of a discount. But what I would do, me personally, especially in the beginning, is I would go to Costco or Walmart and I would buy one of those like 3 to 5 pound premium mixed nut containers, and then some little individual serving cups like this. Now, I would never give anybody that many mixed nuts. That's ridiculous. But maybe about a third of that, like where it's just like the bottom half of that cup would be more than enough, right? That's way more than enough. And I think, I haven't looked at it in the last few weeks, but I think you can get one of those big containers for like $20 and you'd be set for probably a couple of open houses. And if you went through it appropriately, nobody coming through and like taking half the damn thing, that would probably be awesome, because that means you're having a lot of people come through your open house. And so hopefully you're getting to get some good engagement and start converting some of those people. But yeah, hey, if I run through that whole thing in one open house, great. But I suspect it would probably last you a few open houses. But there's a lot of ideas. And I was talking to a client last week, and I was telling her, I was like, even Dustin started off small. And he went from small to now bringing in food trucks. Because you don't think bringing a food truck to your open house just sets you apart from everybody else? It does. But I don't want you worrying about bringing in food trucks right now. I want you to worry about getting this, what we're talking about, done. Because this will be definitely, I don't like the word good enough, but this will be more than good enough if you can just get started with some mixed nuts, or if you got another great idea that you think would be appropriate. And again, in the presentation, in the PDF, I talk more about, and make sure you're not doing group bowls where people are all sticking their grubby hands into the same bowl or something like that, right? Individual servings, so that people can just, right, pick up that cup of mixed nuts, and they can just pop a few in their mouth, and they don't have to worry about who in the world was touching this before I got here. Make sense? And then the other thing here is for the drink. I love the idea of Martinelli's, right? I would pick up 3 or 4 bottles of Martinelli's. And again, the same cups that I got for the mixed nuts, I would just pour a few cups, maybe a half full of the apple cider. That works great. Some clients have a lot of water bottles. That can be great as well, obviously. I wouldn't do anything alcoholic. Something with Martinelli's, ginger beer, all great ideas. Because what's going to happen is, as they're coming through the open house, they're going to think they're probably going to think they're in some like fancy boutique, right? They're like, am I in an open house, or like, what is this? But they're going to hang out longer, and you're going to have more people to talk to. And it's really not that much more money. It really isn't. So we did all the marketing to get people to the open house. We did the nearby homeowner letter, which we'll talk through in some detail here when I get done with this presentation. We did the invite to our database. We invited some other people in our database to the open house. So we are going to have a phenomenal open house. The day of the open house, again, this is one of those things that I was like, oh, this is so stupid. But again, that works. It really works. Now, just because I'm very insecure, apparently, when I would do these directional signs, I would always be so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I would be that person. I just hated it. And then in talking to clients, I was like, they're like, listen, you just wave. People drive by, you're setting out the signs. The worst thing you could do is sit there in flip-flops, looking like you're hungover, and you're trying to not be seen by anybody, and you're looking like the Unabomber, right? Like you look all crazy. Get dressed up how you're going to be for the open house, look professional, set out the signs. And if you can only start with like 5 to 10, and again, there are links to where you can buy signs that are not expensive at all. But hey, if you can only start with 5 or 10, start with 5 or 10. And then just as you've got the ability to add more of these signs. But again, these are going to make you pop. Yeah. It also will, again, it'll also get a lot more neighbors to the open house, because as people are driving through the area, they may not have seen the ad or the post or the email, or they may have, and they forgot about it and they were off doing other things. And then as they're driving home, whereas you can imagine your open house is in the center of the neighborhood. And so somebody lives in the top left corner and they enter the neighborhood maybe from the right side, and they drive through, but they never saw your open house sign because you only did the one sign like most agents that's right in front of the open house. And so they never saw it when they may very well have come by had they known about it. Because you know what? They've just started talking about selling their home a couple of weeks ago. They haven't done much. They haven't seen any other open houses in the neighborhood because nobody else does the signs like what we're talking about. But they saw yours coming back from church or from the cafe or from wherever they were at. And as they're driving home, because you had multiple signs out in the area, they were able to see it and come by your open house. And they did come by an open house that was a sad, little, quiet, lonely place. they come by an open house that it's not a party, but it is something that has some energy and it's something that they want to go into and be a part of. So that's the whole idea here. Prepping for the open house, very straightforward, nothing earth shattering here. I always love the one about the make sure the toilet seats are down. I go to an open house and the toilet seats are up. Oh my. What do you think? Nobody wants to look in the toilet of somebody's house. Close those toilet seats. Now, open house greeting and handshake. Again, don't be that person that just is sitting there and you look up like you're half bothered by somebody walking in. That is so old school. Don't be that person. Introduce yourself. Good handshake and eye contact. This is literally how detailed we are in this presentation. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I've tried to make sure we got every single base covered, even to include how do you greet somebody. Good handshake, eye contact. And if you're a person that's maybe a little shy or more reserved, practice handshaking with people. You don't want to be, I'm 6'2", male, so I got a pretty big handshake. But I always make sure this is not a strength contest. We're not sitting here trying to kill somebody with a handshake. And if you're a smaller person, what you don't want to be too forceful or too soft. Just a nice firm handshake. So practice with somebody if you need to and get that down, because when somebody shakes your hand, there's a lot of information that's passed through that you're not even aware of. And it's being way too strong or way too light can really not set the best of what we're looking for. So I'll go through that. Icebreakers, a couple of questions to get people talking. All right, just in here, nothing earth shattering, but it's stuff that we want to make sure that we don't completely skip over. This is just giving us more opportunities to make sure we don't miss a potential opportunity. If they're a neighbor, this is a great one. If a neighbor comes through the open house, and be honest, right? What do you think this home would sell for? Right? And do you think this would sell for $850,000? Should sell pretty quickly, or with the way the market is, it should sell for around $850,000, although maybe on the market for a little bit, just because we're starting to go into the holiday season and the market's a little bit slower now than normal. But it's a great property. It should sell for the price. And then ask them, what do they think their home would sell for? And when they say they have no idea, right, just offer to come down and give them a quick CMA, a quick value estimate. And if they say they do know, and then ask them, what do you think it would sell for? Maybe they say, our house would sell for $925,000. Still offer to go down, just like what we see here in this presentation, like you'll see in the PDF guide, to go down and confirm their number. What a great opportunity that would be. So we talked about the handouts earlier. We talked about the handout, right? The listings of leads flyer, the chat GPT summary, the open house sign-in form, whether it's online or print. And then we talked about the open houses and other listings in the area. So we're going to hand them the clipboard and pen, because they may want to make notes. Right? How awesome would that be? Because if you see somebody starting to take notes on that listing flyer, that's going to be a good conversation probably. So here's a quick little script if you need to get them to sign in. Sometimes people don't want to sign in. I'm not going to get into a knockdown, drag out fight with anybody over it, but I am going to mention that the seller has asked to make sure that everybody signs in for security purposes, and that you're sure that they can understand and that you appreciate them signing in. And now the finish of the open house. So all events have an ending. And a lot of times the ending can really be, right? You could have done everything perfect up till now, but if your ending falls apart, then so do you. And we don't want to fall apart at the end. We want to have, what are the different options? What are the different tracks that we can take to make sure that everybody coming through that open house, I'm going to approach appropriately to make sure I'm converting more and more of them. A couple of questions is just ask if they'd like to write an offer on the home. Don't answer for them. Don't be the first person to respond. That's like an icebreaker question, because of course they're going to say no 9 times out of 10. In fact, 98 times out of 100, they're going to say no. But what it did was it now opens up to more questions and more conversation. Right? If they're a buyer, you might want to ask if they want to join your VIP list. Talk a little bit about some other listings and other open houses in the area, right? You can buy your open house, right? If they're a neighbor, they're interested in listings in the area because they might be selling or they're just looky-loos. And that's great, 'cause I still want to have a good conversation and get them in my database and still sell their home, whether maybe it's in 8 years from now. 8 years will come faster than you think. If you got kids, you know what I'm talking about. 8 years happens fast, right? I'm not gonna tell you to get lost just because you don't want to buy or sell now. But of course, we're going to be looking for the people that are wanting to buy or sell closer. So we'll offer the list of those open houses and other listings that you printed but didn't give in the beginning. And then through your conversation with them and trying to find out what it is that they like, right? What is it that's motivating to move, right? Buy or sell. Offer to show some specific homes. Don't just do the, oh yeah, if something comes up, I'll let you know, right? That's weak. Everybody knows you're not going to, right? Everybody knows you're just saying that just to sound good. And what you're hoping is that they tell you that they want to sign a buyer's agreement right now and start looking with you. That's what you're trying to say in a passive aggressive tone. Offer something specific. That's way better. And if they're not interested, they have an agent, just wish them well. All right, nothing we can do. And again, if they're a neighbor or a owner nearby, you know what to do. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And then last, I'm not just spending too much time on this, so I want to get back into the account and talk about that nearby homeowner letter. But don't forget the post open house. Oh my gosh. Again, this is something that clients have come to me with, where after the open house, there's a couple of different things you can do. One, shoot a video and then send it to everybody that came through the open house. So you'll have them all on listings to leads, right? You'll have them under the leads and they'll be identified as having come through that open house. So you can shoot a video and then you can send it even through listings to leads, or you can just post it to social media and let everybody know you thank them for coming through the open house. So here you got a little script that will work. Obviously you can do a little bit something different with it if you want to, but shoot this video after the open house. I would put it up on social media and I would also send it to all the people that came through that open house. Now, the nearby homeowner letter, now this is awesome. If you sent that nearby homeowner letter out to those neighbors, whether it's you did 20 of them, 50, 100, after the open house is over with, that letter is editable. So I can edit that letter to be a post open house summary to let the neighbors know how it went. And again, the idea of marketing and engagement and conversion is every time you have another touch point, it moves the engagement and conversion that much closer. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to layer on as many touch points as we can so that those people looking to buy or sell in the near future will come to us more often. So imagine I don't do anything, nobody's going to come to me. That's obvious. I'm going to sit here in my chair. I'm going to sit here in my office. I'm not going to do a damn thing. Nothing's going to happen. But if I start doing things, if I start having an ad out there, a post, an email, a phone call, a letter, right? Different things are not happening, right? Now people are hearing and seeing from me. Now I'm going to have more opportunity to talk to people. So the post open house nearby homeowner letter is a phenomenal idea that's going to help convert more nearby homeowners into listings. Right there, talking about the fact that the more times people see you with good information, good call to actions, you're going to get more listings and you're going to get more buyers. And again, I'll walk through that here. So this is all something that I'll cover this in the account, right? Talking about calling up those same people again after the open house. Because here's the deal. I could call completely random people or hope that people call me up, or I can call through the people that live around that open house that got the open house invitation pre-open house. And now I'm going to call back and just have a quick conversation with them, hopefully, or leave a quick voicemail, giving them a quick summary about the open house. But you can scan that QR code and you'll go to a little bit of a walkthrough on how to do that. So let's get into the account. We got 10 minutes. That will not be a problem. So again, you can access that PDF guide right here under the marketing calendar presentations, open house mastery right there. So there's the checklist, the guide, and the presentation. But I'm going to come back to my listing. Now, if it's not your open house, you're borrowing the open house, what I would do is I would do that letter to the neighbors maybe an hour or two before the open house. I would just door knock, door drop. I just want to drop off as many, between 50 and 100 of those letters to the neighbors before the open house. So I'm going to come to my open house right here. Again, your listing or borrowed, it does not matter. It does not matter. Nearby homeowner letter. Now let's download it as is, and then I'm going to walk you through a couple of edits. So you can use it as is, no problem. People, whether it's Pat Mosley, right? 3 condos in one building, Corey Smallman, $100,000 in GCI from this letter alone, using it mostly for just sold, but sometimes just listed. He just doesn't do open houses, period. But a lot of other clients do open houses, and this letter is awesome. So here's the letter by default. We're just letting people know about the open house. They can get more information by going to the URL, scanning the code, or sending a text. And we're letting them know that when this property is sold, that it will affect their home value. And they can go to this URL, but they'll also, when they scan that QR code, be able to give up their home value as well. So this letter rocks. If you're going to if you want to do the nearby neighbor invite, what I would do, click edit. And whether you're doing a food truck or what have you. So this is pre-open house where we want to invite the neighbors to come to the open house a little bit more special. Hopefully that makes sense. I click edit for the letter, and it says, I just want to let you know that we're having an open house, 1306. I'm going to put as a neighbor, I want to personally invite you to, let's do it like this. Now, if we're going to have a nearby neighbor only open house, then put that in here, right? But what I want to do here is show you how this can be edited, right? Sometimes people, in fact, as a neighbor to this, I'm sorry. In fact, I'm going to add one that we're having a catered. Again, that's what Dustin does. Dustin puts catered, other people do as well. I feel like I'm spelling catered wrong, so make sure you always spell your words correctly. Don't look at me as a spelling coach. So just a real quick edit, right? Makes it very nice. Again, you don't need to edit it, but get this letter to those neighbors. And then after the open house, right, let me close this. So do the open house. Now, after the open house, I'm going to come back here, click on edit. Let me refresh, because otherwise just keeping in those edits I made. In fact, I'll just click on this one. So again, same letter, just different template. And now this is post open house. So you can say, have an open house that we had, open house, 23 people came through. HCU love it, and will be talking to their agents, but the other 18 or so are still looking for a home in the way too much bold. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to unbold this part. Too much bold is not good. And now there's a post open house summary. It is literally that easy. And then get this to the same homes, whether you mail or door knock. And again, think of this as being in the community with a very high engagement activity. Because again, if I go door knock and just say, hey, Sky here, we did the open house at 15 Ambient Way on Sunday. And I just want to give you a quick post open house summary. We had quite a few people come through. A few of the people love this house in particular. Going to be talking to their agents about it. But we had a lot of other people, like 18 to 19 other people that love the neighborhood, but that house just wasn't perfect for them. See, you're going to open up so many more conversations by having that conversation, that lead, right? That lead in to the homeowners. So if getting listings in the next few months where they're going to stay consistently coming in for you, this is what you want to do. Now, last thing here before we take off, you can use a program. There's so many different programs. There's My Plus Leads, Remine. maybe your title company, RedX, Prospect Boss, My Plus, a second here. Let me go. I'm trying to get to My Plus Leads, but I just typed it in wrong. There we go. And again, there are a lot of other programs. Again, your title company may be able to give you this for free. Your MLS or broker may have access to Remine, where you can get this as well. Or you may have RedX, My Plus Leads, or other batch leads where you can get this information. What I'm going to show you here is if I go into services, neighborhood data, now you can do likely to list. Probably likely to list is it's going to skip way too many homes in the neighborhood. And I really want to cover that neighborhood around my open house, but both are viable, right? If you want to do likely to move with this, fine. If you want to just do all the neighbors that still fit a filter, that's great as well. But here you can get all of the homeowner data around that listing. And I would still do like a likely to move light filter. I'm still not going to want to get homeowners that just moved in the last year or two, right? I'm going to want to get homeowners that moved in preferably 5 years or longer ago, right? In the past. I'm still going to run the square footage. I'm still going to run maybe the values, right? Nothing below this and nothing above that. Cause I don't want to get that one house that's $45,000 double wide trailer just because I happen to be geographically in that same area. So I'm still going to run the filters to get a good list of homeowners. And here's what you can do with that list. And this is why this type of information can be very valuable. So you can get the list from in a lot of these different companies. You can scrub the list or skip trace it, and that will give you all the phone numbers not on the DNC. And then in listings to leads, which is now I could mail that letter out through, again, Dustin uses Zaire Mail. So this is a program that he used and he likes it, ZAIR Mail. But you can door knock, you can door drop. There's a lot of ways to get it to the property. But you can also later on, like whenever you want, once you got the data, because if you skip trace it, it's a little bit more money when you skip trace. But what it will also do, hopefully, is make you really want to make sure you get your value from it, because now I can start calling those people because I skip trace and they're not on the DNC. So now I can actually call them with the circle prospecting script and get more listings. All right. The letter works great by itself, but I just want to make sure that you understand the top way to engage and convert, right? The good way is to use the letter. The best way is to use the letter and call. And so what I want to show you is, let's say I bought a list of my farm area. You can go here to listings to leads, create audience, and you can upload your database into listings to leads, and we will send it to Facebook, and you can have an audience of all those people that were in the database in the CSV file. And now our farm, so when they get nearby homeowner letter, when we're having an open house, when I make the phone call, they're also going to see my ads more. They're going to see my posts more. They're going to see my stuff on social media more because I've added them as a custom audience in listings to leads. And then we did that up to Facebook and Instagram for you. So I'm a big believer in buying my GeoFarm neighborhood data. All right. So I might go in there and I might buy, contacts, right? I want my whole farm, right? I'm going to buy it all. I'm going to scrub it. I'm going to buy it. It's an investment. And then what I'm going to do is when I have an open house, right, I'll just pick out the 100 that are like the closest to that open house. And I'm going to get the letter to those 100 or maybe those 50. And because I've skip traced it, I can now call them as well. So do you guys see how powerful that is? This is going to put you in front of more homeowners and home buyers. And it's going to do it in a way that is going to make you stand out and above and beyond anything anybody else is doing. Everything everybody else is doing is not going to be anywhere near this. And I think once you pay attention, that's not the right way to say it. Once you look through it, you're going to realize it may seem like a lot, but it's really not. All right, it's really not. And you don't try to be perfect in the first time you do it. Just layer in stuff. Maybe you don't have the ability to do the music this weekend, but you can start thinking about it and how you're going to find a speaker for the next one. You may not have the ability to bring in Martinelli's apple cider, but you can get the mixed nuts, and you can bring in a big thing of water, and you just got mixed nuts and water. So work at it, work on it, work to get more involved with what you saw in this presentation, because even as you get started, you're going to see a difference. I think you would definitely see a difference, even if you just start slow. But as you build this up, you're going to have the best reputation in your area. And that's really what we want, right? We want our reputation to start bringing us come list me calls, and people that want to buy, right? They've been watching us for a year or two, right? And that's the other thing, right? People are going to come up to you and they'll go, God, I've seen you for the last 6 to 9 months, or I've seen you for the last 2 to 3 months, or I've seen you for the last year or two. And I've always admired how you do your open houses, and they're so great. And so said something about how great you are. And I wasn't ready to buy or sell, but now I am. And they're coming directly to you. And that's what we're looking for. We don't want to be doing paid ads as our only source of leads, right? Paid ads have a place. We definitely do paid ads, but there's a lot of these other things that we can do to build up our reputation so that we start getting people coming to us. And that's the name of the game. With that, I am done. Anybody have any questions for me? Any thoughts, comments, complaints? I can't not give you your time back, but I can help with other things. So if not, I will let you all go real quickly. So everybody good to go? Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining us. Get into the mastermind group. If you need any help, we'll talk to you soon.